Good morning, everybody. My name is Carol Merlo. I'm a licensed spiritual coach here at CSLDallas, and today I'll be leading the Science of Mind class. I'm so glad you guys are attending. You know, it's pretty amazing. I just pre-read what we're going to look at today, and every single page in this book, The Science of Mind, blows my mind. It blows my mind because I've studied for 50 years spiritual stuff, metaphysics and the like, and still, whenever I open this book, I get the truth. And I love reading it. It inspires me, and so I'm glad you guys are here to help me discuss this inspirational experience. Can't wait. So thank you and welcome. Let's go ahead and close our eyes and just center in. Breathing. And what I recognize right now to be true is there is only one thing going on. There's always only one thing going on, and that thing is life. There's life everywhere. I was driving here this morning and saw all the trees and the road and the other cars, inanimate objects apparently, but when you look at the smaller, the more micro level, there's these atoms that are always moving around. So everything, no matter what it is, in this planet, in any other planet, in any galaxy, in the universe, is alive. And that life has beautiful qualities because it's creative. It creates the ants, it creates the seeds that grow into plants. It creates constantly, and that's what we're going to be talking today about, this creative process that happens in Ernest Holmes' words. So welcome as you breathe and allow yourself to relax into this and pay attention. Notice where the wisdom arrives for you. And feel that pearl of wisdom that you can experience, integrate, and share as you go through your day today. And so with great love and blessings, we affirm this event today, this class, this training. And so it is. Thank you for joining us. For those of us that have a book, we're on page 131 today. And this chapter is called The Nature of Being. And this really establishes the foundation of what Ernest Holmes saw as the nature of reality and the nature of being. So I'm going to read the first paragraph. Man's idea of deity, God, evolves with his other ideas. Man's idea of deity evolves with his other ideas. So, here's this idea, as man is evolving, the idea and concept of deity or relationship to deity changes. After a belief in many gods, he comes to realize there is one mind and one spirit back of all manifestation. One spirit or self-conscious life, acting through the medium of one mind or subjective law, producing many manifestations. I'm going to read that sentence again because it's really key. Okay, one spirit back of all manifestation. One spirit or self-conscious life, acting through the medium of one mind or subjective law, producing many manifestations. So here he's saying, when he says one mind or subjective law, it's either or and it's both and. It's not two separate things, it's one thing. Producing many manifestations. Multiplicity comes from unity without breaking up the unity of the whole. So here we are in this manifest universe. There's chairs, there's bodies, there's thoughts and emotions, there's cameras and lights. There's the interaction of your pets and the people in your house. Everything that's going on is the manifest universe. And don't we notice and typically pay attention to that? Like that's our day-to-day experience, right? It's time, space, form, an event. It is the thing that you're living in. So how many people are paying attention to that the greater percentage of the time? Can I see a show of hands? Yeah, right, because otherwise, how are you going to survive? You're in a body, right? You're in a thought, you're in a interaction, you need to pay the bills, you got to drive down the road, you got to get to places, you got to talk to people, maintain your health, all those kinds of things. These are the things that are the manifestations, and at the same time, there is, and pay attention to this right now. See if you can experience the one consciousness that is actually you, that you're operating as a manifest being. You have a higher consciousness that connects you to this one mind, and this subjective law that moves through and adds this one mind into form. It's the mechanism of manifestation. All right? So think of it as a ladder or a tool that converts, a conversion machine that happens from cause or source or spirit into you, the day-to-day you, the personality you. All right? Does anybody have any experiences or consciousness or things they would like to share regarding that? Or ask a question?
Yeah, so
Great.
Just to jump in, we have folks who are online who can also participate, as well as the folks here in the room. So if you do have a question or a comment throughout the course of today, just feel free, if you're here in the room, raise your hand. And I think Carmen is around here, but I'll throw whomever the mic. Hey, Carmen, you can hear her jingle bells because she is wearing... Carmen, wait. Stand up. Show the folks your there you go, that Christmas swag. Look at that. Santa's favorite. So Carmen will help you by handing you the microphone. For the folks who are joining us via Zoom, you can hit the raise your hand icon located down below, and we'll call you into the room. And for all the folks joining us all over the globe on Facebook, they can comment, and I'll bring those questions into the room as well.
Excellent. Wow, that's wonderful. So here we are as a community,
all
online, offline, everywhere. How cool is that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so if there is anybody here in the room, once, twice, 3 times.
Let me continue.
Totally
How about that?
All right, here we go. We'll continue.
Spirit is self-knowing, but the law is automatic and obeys the will of spirit. So we have this, call it a hierarchy, if you will, right? Spirit knows everything. Spirit created everything. Spirit continues to create everything. It is this mechanism that is life, that's processing, and it does this through this tool called the law. And how cool is that? Again, I can't say it enough. I really get blown away at, here it is. This is the mechanism of creation. And we can participate in that mechanism. We can utilize it. We can direct it. Because we are one with Source. We are one with the one mind. Okay. The law is automatic and obeys the will of spirit, having no alternative other than to obey. Like all law, the law of mind is an impersonal force, and because of its nature, it's compelled to act. Its nature is, it has no opinion. Its nature is, it just is a machine. It doesn't have self-will. The law has no self-will. So when you, as an intentional consciousness, impress something into the law, it says yes. It never says no. Good morning. Isn't that amazing? Think about that. So you have this thing. Remember when in the Bible it says it's God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom? That is the law in action. And so each of us have access to this law. We never, ever are separate from this process. And so whether it's hopefully your conscious intention, but otherwise it's happening anyway. Whatever you're directing in consciousness, whether you're aware of it, whether it's subconscious or unconscious or deliberate, it is being manifested in your universe. Okay? Really important point. Soul and universal subjective mind have the same meaning. So the word soul, which he uses quite a lot, is the same as universal subjective mind. So his definition of soul is different than your soul. Like I have a soul that leaves my body when I die and that kind of thing. That is not what he's talking about. They have the same meaning, and they are the creative medium of all thought and action. Soul is also the substance of spirit. The substance of spirit, the uniformed stuff from which all forms are evolved. So, spirit has substance to it. Think about this. This is the body of God, if you want to look at it that way, the body of the one mind. So we are one body. We are in one body. And Karen Fry refers to it as divine oceanic substance. I've been playing with that lately. It is so cool to feel into the idea that I am swimming in an ocean of divine substance. The substance of spirit. It's surrounding me, it's interpenetrating me, it is utilized by me as well. So it's something I can use, and it's something that I am. How do you guys, I'd love to have a question here on how do you experience this divine oceanic substance, this one mind, the substance of God? Yes.
So I have Carl here, and he would like to share. So Carl, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, Carl.
Hello, Carol. Thank you so much for leading the science mind class today. It's really great. A question I had, or a question and comment, is that when I'm doing my spiritual mind treatment, I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm inseparable from the divine. There's no way God is not. There's no way truth is not. I am right here, right now. I am. It's impossible to be separated. And then I walk out into my day, and then it feels like as I feel separate again.
Right.
It's separated. So and then I'll affirm some affirmations from this thing called you and so on. So do you have any guidance about to deepen that, to feel to feel the oneness, to feel the not being separate, that I am the expression of God?
Great question, Carl. Thank you. Okay, so depending on what your style is, some people have intellectual, they work it out with we call it argumentative treatment. They work it out by thinking it through. Some people are more mystical and they experience it directly and then they translate it into their behavior in their life. Some people don't feel anything and they have to discover the path. So number one, you did the right thing by reminding yourself, oh, I'm going to use an affirmation right now, right? So you're going along in your day, all of a sudden you feel a little frustrated. Somebody cuts you off. Or you get behind the really slow car in the fast lane. Ugh, drives me crazy, right? So it's wait and reminding myself, being conscious and aware to wait and notice. Notice where spirit is as me right now, because it's always here. It never moves. And as I notice that, so now it's not an intellectual exercise, it's actually an observational experience for me and hopefully for you too, because I know that you're mindful, you're aware now, and that's the second step. You become aware and then you do something when you become aware. You start to put it into practice. And so I would encourage you, Carl, when you're doing an affirmation, to stop and allow yourself to feel. It's basically becoming aware of the mindfulness, the individual time, that there is no future and there is no past. It's this time right now. And in this time, this is the experience. And then in this time, it's this experience. And so if I am embodying an affirmation, then I also allow myself to experience it as well. Does that help at all, Carl?
He's muted.
Oh, he's muted. Did anybody else understand that? Good. So this is the thing that we call it spiritual practice, right? Because in the beginning, we are unconscious. We come here, we have no clue what's going on. We have no clue that we're aware of being aware. And then we start to become aware of being aware. And once we're aware of being aware, then we can choose what we're experiencing. Choosing the connection to the divine. Yes, Ryan.
Carl, did you want to go ahead and say something else?
Yes, Carol, I just want to respond back to you. But I love that part when you said about feeling the affirmation, and you saying it, feeling and experiencing it. I hadn't quite thought of it before. That's very helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anybody else, or are we good to go?
It sounds like people are intrigued and they want to move further.
I like that. Okay, so spirit is self-knowing, but the law is automatic and obeys the will of spirit, having no alternative other than to obey. Like all law, the law of mind is impersonal, and because of its nature, it's compelled to act. Soul and universal subjective mind have the same meaning. Okay, so that's where we were. Now we're going to the next paragraph for those of you that are listening. Spirit acting upon soul produces creation. Spirit, soul, and substance intersphere. Wow, what a word. Each other, each being omnipresent. That's what I was trying to say, is omnipresent. It's right here, right now, always. Okay? Creation takes place within spirit, and it's the result of the contemplation or self-knowingness of spirit. Creation is eternally going on. Change is always taking place within that which is changeless. Forms appear and disappear in a medium which itself is formless. That is really abstract. Who would like to tell me their interpretation of what they just heard? I'd really appreciate that.
Can you repeat it one more time?
Sure, I'm going to repeat it again. Spirit acting upon soul produces creation. Spirit, soul, and substance intersphere each other, each being omnipresent. Creation takes place within spirit, and it's the result of the contemplation or the self-knowingness of spirit. Creation is eternally going on. Change is always taking place within that which is changeless. Change is always going on within that which is changeless. Where did I go? Forms appear and disappear in a medium which itself is formless. So what are the forms again? Time, space, reality. That's the form. So,
That's forms that we comprehend.
yes, any form. And so it's typically time, space, reality is what he's talking about. And then there is, because that's the manifest, right? Then there's the unmanifest, which is the one spirit. And I love this word intersphere because he's talking about the process of creation, which comes into and out of itself. So, wow. Everything in this physical universe has a birth, life, death process, right? Everything comes into form and out of form, into form and out of form. And ideas work that way too, or states of consciousness. You come into form, you go out of form. You go into form and out of form. So a new idea, a new thought comes into form, gets utilized, has a life, and then you release it. It could be a career. It could be an attitude. It could be a relationship. It could be a relationship with your body or your diet or anything that's in the manifest universe. For you as an individual as well as for the whole. Yes, what's your name, sir? Is what? Kenny?
Keenan.
Keenan, thank you. Yes.
So, I'm kind of at this place where I'm separating myself from those ideas and emotions and just experiencing the observer, because I'm not taking ownership of those ideas. Those are just trains that pass by, and I can go along with the train or I can let it pass. I can ruminate on it, I can sit on it, but I think the experience that you're talking about with the mystical is the experience of being the observer, which is your true self. So at least that's if you want to make a map of it, that's the map that I'm experiencing. And as far as the generative principle, those thoughts and those ideas, they reflect off the subconscious. So that's kind of how I see that impulsive relationship, that impulse to impress on the subconscious, and then from that impression, the subconscious generates reality, or generates the creation of what we have.
Yes, that's the principle that he's talking about. I wanted to ask you a question. What is you? When
The
you say,
observer.
I am, you are the observer. Are you the experiencer?
I mean, I think experiencer, observer, like when you talk about mystical experience, right? That's the grail for me. And so I come to these classes, I do this, I do Kabbalistic things, that's the map that makes sense. It's Western, I'm a Westerner, I'm from this hemisphere. So I mean, a Western system makes a lot of sense for the Western literature, the vernacular, the words that we use, right? And so there's this, what you talked about earlier is some of us like analyze it, right? We like systems, because like a lot of the Eastern systems, they're like, you don't need these maps. Like, what do you have these maps for? It's just there. It really is. Just experience it. But I think, unique to our environment and our collective consciousness, we do like those maps. We love certainty. We love knowing this is left and this is right and this is up and this is down, even though they're all the same thing at once. But we understand that. And so I use that mapping system, that tree of life mapping system. I use that to symbolize some of these abstract concepts and use that symbol as a signpost that I can latch onto and impress into my subconscious. And I'm using that to generate the mystical experience.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, we're talking, and so I think that Ernest Holmes includes that in how he articulates the process, and except for I don't know if he studied the Kabbalah necessarily, but I really like it as a tree of light kind of symbol, and I love this sense of being observing rather than being attached. And the Buddhist tradition does it that way too, right? So we are detached, and then we can observe it, and it doesn't affect us. So how many of us get caught up in the day-to-day reality of being attached to whatever's going on externally, which he calls the condition? So let me go ahead and continue. All right? Thank you. Okay, where am I?
Carol,
Yes,
can I say something?
you may.
The part in that little part.
Oh, here comes the microphone, so the people online can hear.
Hi, I'm Willie.
Hi, Willie.
And
Thank you.
the part that's tricky to me is that change is always happening in the changeless.
Yes.
So for me, that feels like it's all one. And I don't know if I can say this or not. I don't even know if I know how to say this or not. It's like it's all one.
Yes.
The soul, the law, is just aspects of the one.
Right.
So it's all happening all the time. So change is always happening, and that never changes.
Right. Change is a constant. And why, Peter would say, because spirit likes to learn from itself. That's why it created all this. And so that makes it an evolutionary spiral also that continues to grow. And I really love that. So can you put that into a question, Willie?
No. I didn't have a question.
Okay,
It was just a
so
comment.
I get it. And think about traditionally, he starts out with this thing of deity, right? That people have this idea of deity, which is the deity is external to me. That's very comfortable because now I can separate deity from reality. And deity moves into and throughout reality, it creates it. And yet, as we evolve, we recognize that we're it. We're the deity. We are completely holy consciousness of that one thing. That one thing. So you and I are one thing. We're the same thing at our very core. And that's his point, I think, is to recognize that we are an evolution of realization, an evolution of understanding and consciousness as we ascend out of the idea of deity as separate. So then we don't go to astrology or we don't go to any other kind of mechanism because we are one with it. And so to go back to Carl's question, it's holding the consciousness of the one thing, the one mind, the one life, and then living through that and reminding ourselves of that as we go through this life experience. Okay, great. So now, spirit thinks or knows within itself, and as a result of this interaction, creation manifests. Creation is the play of life upon itself through divine self-imagination. Spirit must create in order to be expressed. Spirit, life, soul, substance, law, and unity are all coexistent and co-eternal with each other. The only thing that changes is form. Spirit makes things out of itself by becoming the thing. By becoming the thing it makes. There is no effort in the process. So now again, recognize that as one, as the oneness, as the higher self, if you want to look at it that way, we have this ability. We have this ability to create, to change the form. It can be the form of anything in our life because we are manifesting it. It is us. And really, to grab that, sometimes I really get it. I really get that I experience me as a creative, intentional being. And I can put that thought, that intention into the law, and I can watch the law do the work. So that's why he's talking about it's relaxed. It's not effortless, it's not effortful, it is. And so I can sit and watch it happen. I can set the thought and the intention, and with full belief, recognizing that the law is real and does its thing, I can release my thought and my intention, and then eliminate stress. It isn't something you have to force. It's something that you are. Yes, Carmen?
I had just a recent experience about what you're talking about. Hopefully it's on the same alignment. From my first marriage, I have kids out that marriage. And when I had to start co-parenting, I didn't want to let go. Like I used to cause issues, like parenting, like making it difficult. And one day, I said, I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to pray, let it go, and speak safety and protection over my kids when they go to their father's house out of town. And so this went on, and I let it go. It went on and went on, and, nothing. I'm like, those thoughts that came up, nope, they're okay every time they went to visit. And so recently, their father's mother passed away and had a funeral, and I went. I wasn't going to go, But when I went to the funeral, I realized the effort by me letting go and allowing my kids to be over there with his father's family, the connection that they had. And that's the vision I had. That's what I wanted for my kids to have. And so I was able, actually, I was observing the experience and said that was like an end. I seen the end, like a book closing, because this is what I worked, this is what I wanted. That's what I was doing like when they were younger, and now they're adults now. But I actually seen what I did, how it affected, and I was actually in the story of what I wanted. And so I just seen the end of a story and like to let that go. And now I can start on a whole nother journey. But that experience, I just was able to see the end of it and the outcome of what I had a vision for years ago, because they're like babies then, now they're adults now. So to experience that, the relationship with their other family meant a lot. And I felt good to see them happy and being involved with that other family. And so, yeah, I'd say that.
So look how amazing that is, Carmen, that you have the ability to see an outcome, intend the outcome, release the how, just let it be, and then watch it manifest. This is what we can all do every single day. That's what spiritual mind treatment is about. That's what science of mind is really about, is then having that conviction and understanding of, and then test it out. In 12-step programs, they talk about come, and then come to, and then come to belief. Well, when the belief happens, the process of doing that is testing it out. That's how we find out if it works. We say, this is my intention. I choose this intention. I create an affirmation. I feel the affirmation and practice that over and over and over again, releasing every single time, and then watch it happen. It's watching it happen that is the demonstration. And this is what he's talking about here in a more personal way. So thank you for sharing that. That was a really good example of how this works. Do we have anybody online, Ryan? Whoop. Or shall I go on? I'm good? I am good. All right. Conscious mind and spirit have the same meaning, that part of reality which is self-knowing. Subconscious and subjective mind, soul and mental, medium, universal subjectivity and law all have the same meaning. It's that part of reality which acts as law. So let's go back to what law is. It's subconscious, subjective mind, soul, mental medium, universal subjectivity, and law. So we can call it any one of these things. It's the exact same mechanism. All right? Body, creation, or the manifest universe is the result of spirit acting through the law. Body, creation, or the manifest universe is the result of the knowingness of spirit. Spirit alone is self-conscious. Spirit alone is self-conscious. Spirit alone is self-conscious. You, as spirit, are self-conscious. All right? Law and manifestation are automatic reactions to spirit. They're the mechanism, the tool. Soul or subjective mind, substance or unformed stuff, and conscious spirit permeate all things and all people. This is what I was talking about with this divine oceanic substance. Swimming in this, feeling like you're actually in it. It's in the air. Right now there's air all around us, right? That air has these little molecules, but it gives us life. And we're swimming in this ocean of air. That air is the divine, is spirit. And it's inside of you. It's interpenetrating you. So your body is one form. Your emotions and your thoughts are one form. And then the divine expanded consciousness is also you. Doesn't mean you're all of it, but it's all of you. Which is good to know. None of us are going to be egoistic about this thing. It cannot be too plainly stated that spirit or conscious intelligence is the only self-assertive principle in the universe. Spirit is the power that knows itself, and it's the only power that's self-knowing. Everything else is subject to spirit. The soul and only operation of spirit is through its word, acting as law through substance, producing creation. So, let's go back to Willie for a minute. So this thing of, there's this divine oceanic substance, the substance of spirit, and then there's everything else. And at the same time, everything else is it. He is clearly addressing this duality as a paradox, right? And so let's think of the yin-yang symbol. So the yin-yang symbol is a circle with a little S and a dot here and a dot here. One side is white with a black dot, one side is black with a white dot, okay? This is a way of explaining the difference between spirit and manifestation. So what happens if you take that yin-yang sign and you start to spin it, and spin it faster and faster, what happens? The dots go away, the little S goes away, the colors merge, and that's where the oneness is. So it's walking through your life every single day, recognizing that there is more than just me, the day-to-day experience of my identity. And so this idea of being the observer is really valuable. The idea of being the experiencer is really valuable because some will, through their mechanism or their path, be the observer. Some will be the experiencer, depending on your flavor, because there's many different types of ways of connecting to spirit. None of us are the one way. There is no one way, right? And that's what makes science of mind so beautiful, because we're not telling you this is the way to do it. We are suggesting that there is a process, and that process is spiritual mind treatment. And so I really want to encourage everybody to go online today or come in and get a spiritual mind treatment from the practitioners, because this helps you deal with the stuff that you're stuck in. Deal with the stuff that's holding you back from realizing your divine source. So I'm at the end of this section. Patrick, what are your thoughts about this? You don't have any thoughts? Thoughtless. Okay, Patrick, you do want to talk, right? Oh, no? Okay. Okay, fine. Yes, sir, Gordon.
Hi, my name is Gordon. You know, this has been a great discussion this morning. I can tell you did a lot of research prior to it. I appreciate that, because you've done a good job of spreading the questions around and bringing people back in. You know, I read something that said that anytime you try to describe God, that's not him, or that's not it.
Yeah.
So, because it's hard to describe deity or whatever in human terms, like you were talking, you know, finding the symbols and everything, and everybody's got different languages. But anyway, one idea that's been real interesting to me was everybody knows the story about the prodigal son.
Yeah.
But it hit me between the eyes a couple of weeks ago when I read, I think it was in Joel Goldsmith or something, he said that everybody's a prodigal son. And that we're on this journey to get back to what we're capable of, what we have right now. And to me, it just kind of, it helped tie everything together. One, that we are capable of a lot more than we think we are, by especially using the science of mind and treatments and everything. But for me, at least, it just kind of tied it together, that it wasn't so abstract. It said that's just a reality. And if we can see that as a starting place, then hopefully that makes it a lot easier to tap into that real reality that we have.
I like that, Gordon. And then I'll get to you in a second, Jerry. The difference between that story and the way Ernest Holmes explains it is the journey has already arrived. We are already it. In spirit, we're everything. We call it the spiritual truth. And so any desire, any potentiality is already available as spirit. And so yes, in the human journey, we do walk this path to go back to native state, native source. And so it's a good way of explaining it, because now you know you're on a path, and there is a end point. There is a self-realization experience or enlightenment experience that happens at the end, whether it's in this life or not, but that's a great story. Thank you. Jerry.
Hello, Jerry. I just had a comment. Lately, I've been dealing with and thinking about compassion a lot, being passionate to other people and that kind of stuff. And I guess today, this added food for thought to me, because I'm wondering if I'm compassionate to everybody else, other people, even if I have to sometimes feel, well, I'm going out of my way, but I'm going to be nice to them. I wonder if that's because at some level I'm also being compassionate to myself, and also the vice versa of that.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, so compassion is a heart-based thing, right? And it's a wonderful practice. And how I like to play with that is I recognize that the divine within them is the same as the divine within me, right? Like I honor the light within you. And so as I become more aware of my own consciousness, my own love, my own compassion for me, and boy, there's some really good examples of this in the world, my compassion then becomes universal, ubiquitous, because I am compassion rather than I have compassion. See the difference? When you are it, then everything shifts. And that's the goal, really, in spiritual mind treatment especially, or doing affirmations. I am a success, I am a success, I am a success, I am a success. And you say that over and over again, and you don't feel it in the beginning. Well, sooner or later, what happens, if you keep saying that, it's a given. Oh yeah, I am a success. And you don't need the outer reality to affirm it anymore, because it's the shift in consciousness to being rather than doing. Great question. Thank you.
Okay, I think Keenan has one more comment, and then we'll close today out.
Okay, great.
Keenan, go ahead.
Keenan.
Yeah, I had a question, and it was, you brought it up. You talked about, like you said, you are a success, or you might want something. So, if you want anything, right, you kind of become aware of it. Like you become, you don't necessarily want it. You just become aware. Oh, I want that. Oh, that. So you get this awareness of a desire or something, or you get this awareness of an observation. And I think, okay, where does that actual want come from? And I might map that to deity, because that's something you just you consciously think like, oh, I want that. But that actual desire came from somewhere. So I think about that, and okay, we'll map that. In my mind, I map that to deity. That's deity expressing. Like that want came, it had to have a source. It originated somewhere. Then on the flip side of that, well, then you become aware of the want and you act on it. Like if you do your positive affirmations and you generate reality based on that want. Then you have the other experience of, at least something that I've been trying to tap into, of we can become aware of a desire, and that's a conscious thing going on. It's the thinking process. You're thinking about this desire, right? Turning the whole process of thinking about it off and just experiencing life. Like I'm just going to not have a want, not have a desire, just act, like allow myself to flow, like have that flow state where it's not a thinking process. It's not I'm thinking about, I want to say this to this person. The words just come out. I'm not thinking about, I want to go to this interview and put on this performance. I don't even think about what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go there, and what comes, it just comes out. So that's the same thing. You're generating reality, but in in that situation, there is no thinking process. It's just flowing through you. It still generates. So the question that I have is, like, I'm painting that to kind of separate those two generative processes, because they both generate, but they're very different in the way that they generate. How would Ernest Holmes describe those processes, or how would he explain those things happening? Because they are both generative, and I think on some level they come through deity. Like, where are these actions coming from, right?
It's really interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. I don't know how much more time we have. Can you tell me?
A minute, 2 minutes.
Okay, so in a capsule, short capsule, that's what I call practitioner consciousness. Some people may call it mindfulness. Some people may call it enlightenment. But it is, we have it for a quadrant model called the states of consciousness. And there's victim or to me, then there's by me, then there's through me, and then there's as me, right? The state you're describing, which is, I am it. It flows through me. And there must be, you're right, some mechanism that generates the want, like the path, the purpose, the process that each individual has. And so, again, it's releasing and allowing. This entire conversation has been about releasing and allowing, because the law does the work. You put the thought into the law, and then you be. You be. And that's exactly what you're describing. So thank you.
Awesome. I just wanted to chime in real quick because I know we're going to be closing up here, but there's a couple of things that are going on I wanted to make everybody aware of. Obviously, you have Christmas that's coming up. I see a couple people dressed up for... Yeah, that's right. So we have the Christmas Eve celebration here. It's on Christmas Eve, starting at 6:30 p.m. I know. I still have to say that, though. I've actually had people go, well, when is it? But anyway... So it starts at 6:30, invitation for everybody to come, whether you're online or in person. We will have a candle lighting ritual, and it's going to be full of great music, good times. And then we also have a Vision Quest workshop, which I'll be hosting, which is going to be coming up on the 28th. You need to register by the 27th, so it's going to be a Saturday event. And we're going to be coming through this whole setting our intentions and building an art creative vision board, so to speak, through meditation. And it's going to be a really fun experience. So I invite you guys to sign up because seating is limited to 20 folks. And we only have a couple spots left. So please make sure to sign up for that. And then we have the Burning Bowl. So this is a perfect segue into the Burning Bowl, which is we're going to be setting our intention for 2025. We meet here on New Year's Day at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, both in person and online. And we have a really powerful message along with some amazing music. And if you guys have ever experienced the Burning Bowl, you should know by now it is one of our most popular events. So I encourage everybody to come out for that. And then right at the turn of the year, Dr. Petra has a workshop, kind of coincides with it. And the workshop is right here, right now, ... create.
There it is.
So she's going to be talking about, really moving with purposeful intention for the new year. And that is both on person and online. So you guys can register now for that. And in about 30 minutes, we have our celebration. And Faye is going to be leaving us. She is actually now, round of applause, a certified minister.
Yay!
Yeah, she just got her credentials. So shout out to Faye for getting that done. I know it was a long journey. So she's going to be kicking it off today here in about 30 minutes. And so I invite you guys to join us here in person and online. And I'm getting pointed at by Carmen.
Burning Bowl, child care.
Oh, yeah, and there will be child care for Burning Bowl. Children under 5, or just, we're going to say, bring your kids. Bring the kids. There's also going to be a Burning Bowl celebration for them, too.
Cool.
So it's going to be a fun time. Bring the family out. Bring yourself out. And we will see you when we see you in person and online. Any last words, Carol?
Be here now. That's the word of wisdom from Ernest Holmes. Thank you for joining us today, and hope to see you soon.